What's up, wonderful Earthlings? Thank you very much for clicking this video, man. You're full of good vibes. Respect to yourself. You see, some wise men from the past came together, sat, and concluded that you cannot solve a problem using the same mentality you used in creating the problem. It's why here we believe in spreading love, peace, forgiveness, and unity among humans across the whole world. Because we believe through this we can heal the world of all this chaos and crazy stuff we are seeing around. You see, kindly watch this video till the end and react together with me through the comment section because all is with the intentions of spreading love. Straight out of Africa with lots of good vibes. Kindly hit the like button, leave some comments there, and let's dive in. Good vibes till the end, man.
Then I found out about the Van Allen radiation belt. Here's what a NASA engineer has to say about the Van Allen radiation belt.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
This radiation belt was present for the Apollo missions, so how did they manage to make it through? Let's ask Apollo astronaut Alan Bean.
Any ill effects from the Van Allen radiation belts?
No, now I'm not sure we went far enough out to encounter the Van Allen radiation belt. Maybe we did.
Beginning at an altitude of 1,000 miles and extending an additional 25,000 miles, lay lethal bands of radiation called the Van Allen radiation belts. Every space mission in history with humans on board, from both the United States and Soviet Union, from the first in 1961 to the present, has been well below this deadly radiation field. Mercury, Gemini, Soyuz, Skylab, the Space Shuttle, all maintained altitudes well below 1,000 miles. All except Apollo.
I don't know the distance to the Van Allen radiation belt.
The belts are 1,000 miles to 25,000 miles above the Earth.
Then we went right out through them.
No effects on your cells?
Didn't even know it. I don't think anybody, well, maybe somebody said you went through the radiation belt, but we didn't feel it inside, and we didn't get any, added radiation.
So you see, Team Apollo didn't know about this deadly radiation belt that would have killed them, so they weren't affected by it.
What's the first thing you see in this picture? If you first saw a fish, you are loyal and empathetic, and people enjoy being around you. You don't open up to everyone, you have your own social circle and hold deep affection for those you're close to. However, your biggest weakness is your reluctance to make decisions. Your indecisiveness has caused you to miss many opportunities. You're easily influenced by others, so it's essential to understand what you want out of life and learn to make decisions for yourself. Being a dragonfly, you are a balanced and composed individual. However, you have a flaw. You don't know how to interact with certain people and prefer solitude. You are a relaxed and calm person, avoiding confrontations. You'd give everything for those you love, even at your own expense. You must believe in yourself, learn to forge relationships, and many new opportunities will come your way. Seeing a lake? You are an intelligent and dynamic person who can find solutions to any problem and isn't afraid of challenges. One trait that might be your downfall is your frankness. You struggle with holding back words or controlling emotions. As a result, you often get into conflicts, sometimes even unintentionally offending those closest to you. Seeing eyes, this speaks to your remarkable intelligence and creativity. You're a creative soul. You're the type to trust your intuition and not overanalyze situations. You have unique talents and are always searching for something new, but you easily grow wary of people or situations, which might be to your disadvantage.
السلام عليكم. كيف حالك؟ الحمد لله. يا عيال كيف تسولف؟
The Antarctic Treaty was supposed to protect the secrets of the frozen continent. For decades, only a few scientists and explorers were allowed to visit the designated areas, while the rest of the land was off limits to anyone. No one knew what was hidden beneath the ice, except for the 12 original signatories of the treaty, who had agreed to keep it a secret from the world. They had discovered something incredible, something ancient, something alien. A massive pyramid buried deep under the snow, emitting a faint but steady signal. A signal that was picked up by a mothership orbiting the Earth, waiting for the right moment to activate the device. A device that would awaken the rest of the pyramids, scattered across the globe, and unleash a cataclysmic event that would change the course of history. That moment came on a fateful day, when a powerful earthquake shook the southern hemisphere, causing massive cracks in the Antarctic ice sheet. The pyramid was exposed to the air, and its signal became stronger and louder. The mothership responded, sending a beam of energy that activated the device. A surge of power ran through the pyramid, and a shockwave spread across the continent, triggering a chain reaction that activated the other pyramids. The world was in chaos. The pyramids emitted a strange radiation that affected the climate, the wildlife, and the human population. Storms, floods, fires, and earthquakes ravaged the planet. Australia was hit by a deadly tsunami that wiped out most of its coastal cities. Millions of people died, and millions more were displaced, injured, or infected. The governments and the military were helpless, unable to stop the disaster or to communicate with the alien. Panic swept across the globe as the truth came to light. The Antarctic Treaty, crafted to safeguard secrets, had been shattered by the awakening of the pyramids. And with their emergence came a revelation beyond comprehension. For within the ancient structures lay not just artifacts of a bygone age, but knowledge that transcended time and space. Minds awakened as the secrets of the pyramids unlocked the latent potential within humanity. Governments scrambled to contain the chaos, but it was too late. The truth could not be suppressed any longer. As people grappled with the implications of what lay beneath the ice, a new era dawned, one where the boundaries of human understanding were redrawn.
This is the story of the creation of Adam that you will not hear in church. The reason you won't hear this in church is because it completely flips on end the idea of the scripture that we have in the book of Genesis with original sin in the Garden of Eden, and in fact exposes and sheds light on exactly what creation of humanity was for, at least according to this mythology. In the secret book of John, there is a power and a first ruler named Yaldabaoth who is cast into a cloud made of dark light. That cloud is where he created the material realm, and he decided to make a creation within that. That creation was none other than Adam. And the secret purpose for Adam, according to this myth, is because Yaldabaoth said to the other powers, "Let us create man in the image of God so that he may give light to us." This same scripture reveals that Adam was created in the likeness of these particular deities. The Old Testament calls them Elohim. The Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian call it the Anunnaki gods. And within Gnosticism, they are called the authorities or the principalities. My name's Cub. If you want to explore the supernatural, follow for more.
The earth is darkness, it produces no light. All of the light comes from above in the heavens. This is why all religions stem back to the worshipping of the stars. Without them we would be dead. Why do you think Jesus is called the risen Saviour, the light of the world, and has 12 disciples for the 12 constellations? Sun rises every morning and saves you. He's the risen Saviour. Your body is the darkness, your consciousness is the light. Out of the darkness ye must rise upwards, one with the light and one with the stars. The emerald tablets of Thoth. Why do you think the Freemasons always show a ladder up to the celestial stars above and depict all of the light coming from above? They want you to believe this to keep you stuck down here within the darkness. The stars represent the higher realms beyond the earth. Beyond the stars is the astral plane. This is why the word astral has star within it. Change this to astro, astronomy. Space is fake. Earth rearranged is heart. Heart means middle. This is why the Freemasons stand on the checkerboard. It represents duality, good and evil, day and night.
Fallen angels are aliens. In this video I will show you proof that our government knows about aliens' existence and how they're even working with them. Now before I show you these clips, remember that there are several species of what we call aliens. Some are good, some are bad. These are the actual biblically accurate angels. If you would like a separate video on the angelic races, comment angelic races. I think you guys are prepared for the truth about what angels are, and all the angelic races that even the Bible doesn't completely cover. Later in the video I will show proof that the biblical prophets were encountering these so-called aliens, as well, and even getting abducted, as we call it. In these videos I'm going to show is pretty much about how the government is getting prepared to introduce us to these angelic beings. Watch this.
And this was the most important thing he said during that period, was that there have been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and visitors from other star systems.
You believe in part that the movies E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, were not entirely just the creative products of some Hollywood director, that maybe there's more to that. Why don't you explain?
They were carefully guided by representatives from MJ-12, who is this organization that is in charge of the cover-up, in order to get us ready for the release of the information that there are indeed aliens. And in both those movies, they used small little creatures and in order to get us ready for this release of information.
So to prepare us that the idea of benevolent aliens from outer space are going to help us out.
Unfortunately, they're not so benevolent. So they made probably one of the most disastrous mistakes when E.T. was put out. At that time was before we discovered what I call the double cross or the grand deception. And they were trying to get us used to the benevolent little creatures, but that isn't the case.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are.
Now I showed you these videos to condition you to the truth about angels and fallen angels. I will now tell you a story in the Bible about how a prophet was abducted by aliens, aka the true biblically accurate angels. Unfortunately, this is something the Bible doesn't cover too deeply, but it does, however, cover it, and we're able to understand what angels truly are from this verse. In 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 11 it says, "As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw this and cried out, 'My father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel,' and Elisha saw him no more. Then he took hold of his garment and tore it in two." Elijah, seeing a chariot of fire and then going to heaven in a whirlwind, is clearly a primitive description of some kind of aircraft literally pulling Elijah into it. The prophets tend to call heaven, or the heavens, the sky. So this means whatever did pull Elijah up in a whirlwind was in the sky. Elijah is one of only 2 prophets to be taken to heaven. The only other prophet this happened to be Enoch. This proves that.
What would you think if I could take you to a place where the 200 fallen angels built a boardroom for them to all meet? It would have to be at the top of a finished pyramid, at the end of a pointed sword, with a phoenix right there into the front yard. And if you clicked inside of it, it would have a round table where they could all meet together, all 200 of them. And if you go right inside the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, I'm going to show you their boardroom. All 200 delegates meet right here in the top of this finished pyramid. It's one of the only finished pyramids I've ever seen in my life. And if you click on that little mark right there, it's going to take us down inside that hole. And that's what's underneath the Palace of the Peace and Reconciliation, where the 200 fallen angels meet. That sun shines right through the middle of that table that holds 200 people, and it goes all the way down to the middle of the floor in the basement, which is the amphitheater, and that's where all the people can meet. It says 200 seats for the world's religious meetings. Chapter 3 in Enoch 1 tells you that there were 200 fallen angels that descended in that day, and right there it tells you the names of those people, and they were the leaders of 10. I've never heard of anybody even mention this place or a Christian telling me that they went there. Okay, click on the U.S. Embassy in Astana and then zoom down right down the street and you'll see that portal right there. I thought this was super weird, but there's no pictures of it. So if you go across the street and click on that little blue dot right across the river, and then roll that thing around right there and you're going to see this, looks like a portal to me. Click on my link tree right there off of my bio page, and it'll take you to all of my printable materials. Click on the Book of Enoch right there, the Watchers, and then you can read right along with me. We can go right back to this. Click on my YouTube page, and I read it for you on YouTube, and you can follow right along with that book that you printed off. It's right there. It's about the third or fourth video. The book of Ephesians tells you to put on the full armor of God, and having done all to stand, stand. For when I see the sword fall upon the land, I'll blow the trumpet and warn the people. Have a blessed day, in Jesus' name, and like and follow the trumpet for more.
Oh, that's interesting, man. Even that's on that. Oh, look at this. Some good vibes human from some place was cuddling with a big fish. Oh, and it's good vibes. Oh, see, the fish even understands that. They are dancing together and the fish is happy. Oh, this is incredible, man. Much love to these guys and to everybody there that have watched up to this far. Big up and respect yourself, man. You see? Oh, wonderful sauce. Oh, look at this. Oh. Oh. You see, some of this fish seem unbelievable to me. You see, I just cannot understand how fish can get this big. Huh. You see, I only see them here in these videos, and it's just incredible, man. You see, it's good vibes. Oh, look at this. Man, these guys have gone in the water to feed the fish.
Who is creating an atomic bomb? He wakes up in the morning to go and create a gun, to go and plan the murder and death of people. These guys are in grey suits, blue suits, looking very normal. But they go to work, they go to parliaments, they go to governments to plan the extermination of people. You don't have to look at Benjamin Netanyahu or even to look at Biden or look at Zelensky. Maybe we need to understand. We hear what they are saying, but I'm now more worried about the quality of information that they have. And above the information, I'm now actually worried about what kind of spirit would make you wake up in the morning to go and design a bomb that must kill and exterminate 150,000, 200,000 people. Just kill them. And this is how you're going to do it.
Man, peace and love to everybody, man.
Does anyone else think that inflation has gotten just a little bit out of hand? Oh, shoot.
What is that?
Dried blood is dead blood. Everybody knows that. First of all, in this analysis, I took the blood into a laboratory in Israel. I just said, please examine this blood and tell me what you can tell me about it. They said, well, look, we're going to reconstitute it. We're going to put it in normal saline and keep it at body temperature for 72 hours with gentle swirling. All right, they checked it out. They said it's human blood. We can tell that. They did whatever tests they need to do. And then I said, take some of the white blood cells and put them in a growth medium and keep them at body temperature for 48 hours. And they said, well, that'll do no good because it's dead blood. I said, would you please do that for me? They said, okay, we'll do it. So anyway, I said, I want to be there when you take it out and examine it. So I was back there. They took it out, examined it under microscope, and the one technician called the other one over there, and then they called the boss over there, and they were talking Hebrew a mile a minute there for a little bit, and they looked at me and they said, Mr. Wyatt, this human blood only has 24 chromosomes in it. Everybody else has 46. You see, 23 from your mother, 23 from your father, 22 autosomes from your mother, 22 autosomes from your father. You get an X from your mother, you may get an X or a Y from your father. All right, this blood had from the mother's side one Y chromosome. You see, the child could not have developed if they hadn't had the autosomes from the mother, her autosomes. His maleness was determined by this one Y that came from a source, not a human male. Then they said, this blood is alive. And then they said, whose blood is this? I said, it's the blood of your Messiah.
Oh my god. What do you think about that story?
If you use my version of Snap, you can see the people who live beyond the ice wall on the Snap map. Now, have you ever heard of the Great Ice Ball Earth theory? This comes from the idea that the Earth is much bigger than what we've been told, and that there are other domes of land that exist past vast walls of ice. Now, you've probably never seen this giant map of other domes that exist outside of the Earth. It was created by the author Nos Confunden, who apparently has diaries of people who went beyond the ice wall, and he has all these stories about what all these other lands are, what the types of people who live past them are like. There's even one where it's supposed to be a mirror Earth of ours, where like there's another version of yourself there, and it's the exact same person, but everything's reversed a bit. There's even an evil area where the underground people live. It's called the Bal continents. It's very interesting. It's such a massive map, and stuff that you just like could never have even thought could even exist at all. And then there's this giant, even bigger ice wall all around it. So who knows? What if this is real?
Oh, what do you think about this?
You need to stop
stories?
listening to worldly music. Watch this.
You know that it's living rent free. I can't get it out. You did that.
Yeah, it's hypnosis.
You're awesome and dope.
When they tell us these things, they are telling us the truth in plain sight. Luke 12 verse 3 states that whatever they speak about in darkness, or whatever they speak in the ear in the closets, right? So whatever they're talking about in secret, they must proclaim upon the housetops. It's like a divine law that God has created. They have to tell us the truth about all these things that they're doing. The frequencies that they put in this worldly music opens up portals in your brain and around you, allowing you to be attacked in the spirit realm. Right, your subconscious mind is a very, very, very powerful machine, and they know how to hack into it and to manipulate it. Right, she said she couldn't even get the song out of her head. It was living rent free. Right, getting you to say something over and over and over and over again in your head is literally how they summon false gods and demons in other religions. And we're actually even warned not to use vain repetitions. So be careful what music you're listening to out here. Don't forget to like and follow, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh, did you know that, man? That's scary.
40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. 20, down a half. 30 seconds forward, just.
Oh,
Can I
my
blow your mind
God.
right now? Okay. We've already been visited by time travelers, and there's evidence of it. Chris is walking out because I already took him down this rabbit hole earlier, and he does not want to do it again. That's okay. Go. Okay. A lot of people think that if we're going to be visited by a time traveler, they're going to come from the future. But what if they came from the past? You ready for this? The Library of Alexandria burnt down almost 2,000 years ago. The Colossus of Rhodes collapsed in an earthquake in 226 BC. So how do we know about them? Right? Let that sink in. How do we know about things that were destroyed in their time? It's one thing for us to dig up an artifact today and observe it and learn about it, right? But the library and the Colossus were destroyed in their time. So the only way for us to know about it is if someone came from the past to tell us about it. Right? So then you start to ask yourself, well, how could they have time travel in the past, but we don't have it today, when we are far more advanced? Well, if you had the secret to time travel, you would probably keep it somewhere where a lot of sources of knowledge are stored. And you see where I'm going with this, right? The Library of Alexandria.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
The blood types have different timelines. So they say the O negative is or the O, I should say, is the oldest blood type. Then you have A, then you have B, and then you have AB being the newest blood type. They say AB came around about 1500s. Now we've talked a lot about how timelines are incorrect and everything else, but let's just say a new blood type appeared in the 1500s. AB. Who was creating a new blood type? This takes it to a whole nother thing. GMOs and genetic engineering and all the kind of stuff we've been told about has only really been taking place for like the last 60 years, we'll say. But now you start to think, okay, if a new blood type came about, who was manipulating the blood of the people so that they could create a new blood type? Something to think about. The O negative blood type, an O negative person can give their blood to a dog, a canine, or canites. You know that whole phrase where they say canites and canines?
Do you agree or disagree with that?
So, if you ever have a helium balloon you can't reach, you can use a squirt bottle with cold water, and this is how you get it down. You just spray it. And the water brings it down for you.
Oh, that is interesting. Even that balloon itself. What type of machine is that?
How do you know who is and who isn't from New York? If they looked, they're not from New York.
Oh, that is
If the Earth is
interesting.
flat, then why can't people from anywhere in the world zoom with a telescope and see Mount Everest? To begin with, this question presupposes the errant assumption that we can see indefinitely far with the use of a telescope. This idea has been indoctrinated into people due to modern astronomers claiming that the stars and planets shown through their telescopes are millions and billions and trillions of miles away, making many people assume that a telescope pointed horizontally should also be able to see equally far, or at least as far as Mount Everest. In reality, however, as you can test for yourself, using a telescope or camera with just 100 or 200 times zoom capability, the stars and planets are not nearly that far away, and can be zoomed into incredible detail beyond what would be possible of something so absurdly distant. Furthermore, when looking horizontally across the Earth, there are a number of visibility and atmospheric limitations present that don't factor when looking upwards towards the stars, namely perspective and convergence, angular resolution and the vanishing point, as well as pollution, haze, humidity, fog, mist, and more. Most people asking about seeing Mount Everest through a telescope have never actually experimented with one themselves, or else would already know that visibility gets progressively more distorted the further you zoom, until nothing can be discernibly resolved. There are also, of course, hills, mountains, buildings, trees, and innumerable other objects in the way, obstructing any possible view to Mount Everest. If you stand on the beach, a plain or prairie, you will find the horizon extends about 3 to 6 miles around you, depending on the weather and your eyesight. The range of the human eye, our field of vision, is from 110 to 1 degree, and the smallest angle under which an object can still be seen is 1/60th of 1 degree, so that when an object is 3,000 times its own diameter away from an observer, it will cease to be visible. So, for example, the furthest distance at which one can see a 1-inch diameter penny is 3,000 inches, or 250 feet. With the aid of the best telescopes, on the clearest days, we can resolve objects a few hundred times smaller and or further away, but anything on the scale of seeing Everest from anywhere on Earth is simply not possible.
Huh.
This
What
looks
do you
fake,
think
but it's
about
real.
that?
This is real money I got from the U.S. Mint. It's the government organization that's responsible for printing all the money that we use. This is called uncut currency. It's legal money. This has 16 bills at $2 a piece. Yes, $2 bills still exist. So technically, this sheet is worth $32. In fact, I should be able to hand this to any business and they should accept it as a legal form of payment. It has real value. Check this out. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. It's real money. But think about it. Before the ink touched this paper, it wasn't worth anything at all. As soon as the mint stamps this paper with these markings, it suddenly has value. That's crazy. What's crazier to think about is what people do for these pieces of paper. People cheat each other. They lie to each other. They even kill each other over this paper. Literal paper. I know what you're thinking. It's a representation of value in the real world. Like a deed is a piece of paper that represents property, or a car note represents the car. So what does this piece of paper represent? Gold, oil, diamonds, something in the real world? No, it represents the faith and credit of the US government, for whatever that's worth.
Oh, we should love each other regardless of that piece of paper. Revealed who is behind NASA. Let's see. Oh, look at this, man. Haja, who's this guy with this ring? What type of ring is this? Is this the Freemasons type of ring, or what is this? Good people of Earth. Oh, what is this trying to imply? You see? Or what does this mean? This is really creepy. Please leave your thoughts, man. Wow. There's stuff happening all over this world, man. You see? And we need to be honest with one another, good people of Earth. You see? When we be honest with one another, we can even understand stuff that goes on the world. Yo, and we can even find solutions to crazy stuff without lying to one another. Look at this. This is crazy. Looks like that sign is definitely from the nation's side, huh? Anyway, it's just humans and it's good vibes, man. Good people of Earth. Spread love from wherever you are. And peace and forgiveness and good vibes.